Hi, Dimitri. This is we're going to talk today about the disintegration meeting from Tuesday, December 10th. And here we go. Take it away, Dimitri.
Hey guys, Friday the 13th in East Harlem at Cassava House in my favorite booth. Glad to be here. Um, yeah, we had a really powerful group last Tuesday. Uh, a young woman came with actually her parents. And I guess her parents were in their early 70s, which is kind of unusual. We do have couples usually, and we've had brothers and sisters and brothers, but never anyone coming with their family. Um, she had done a lot of research on ibogaine in particular, and psilocybin mushrooms. And the reason she came to psychedelics is because she is suffering from sickle cell anemia, and had gone through what she went on to describe as pretty hellish treatments and the effects of sickle cell anemia. It's an incredibly painful blood disease, for those that don't know, affecting Africans and and members of the African diaspora, and incredibly painful and can be deadly. And she was looking for, I think, maybe to find some relief from the physical symptoms, but also to deal with it sort of spiritually. So it was really a beautiful and unique to have family members coming to the group. Actually, her niece it seemed she was about the same age, but her niece joined, so she had three family members to support her. And she relayed her experience of doing psilocybin on her own, and finding some clarity around her sickness. But what really moved me, one of the many things that moved me about her presence at this meeting, was she sat for her father. Her father decided that he's a guy in his early 70s, and he said, "quote I might have taken some acid in the 70s." It's like, that's something you forget. So I think that was like, I took some acid in the 70s, but and she sat for him, and really unique young woman in that, I mean, her innate sense of how to do this was impressive to both Brian and I. But and that sort of brought up for me, and maybe the conversation sort of went to, like, folks who are coming to psychedelics. There's a lot of talk about end of life use of psychedelics, but also and folks who are struggling, which I have done work with people who are ending their life or are in the middle of cancer treatment, for example, and also their family members, because her father, who was open to clearly open, he did it, he sat with his daughter, was very open, but her mother was more conservative, and she was very quiet until the very end of it, where she related very movingly about losing another daughter to sickle cell and how she might be open to experiencing the mushrooms. So I think there are those, that are struggling with illness, fighting in treatment, that have come to psychedelics for strength support, maybe some miracle cure, but mostly for emotional and spiritual exploration and healing. And then there are those who are at the end of their life, who come for some sort of resolution. And then there are the family members and friends who come to it to support their loved ones while they go through it, and then it's also to find some healing. I just talked to someone yesterday actually who was going to sit with someone who was very sick. I mean, they were going to receive medicine as well with another provider, and I don't know. Just to say that, you know, having witnessed this personally and having facilitated these types of sessions or ceremonies, I think they're some of the most powerful and meaningful work that I've done. And you know, other things happened in the group, but in a way that was so moving, especially the mother at the end, where, you know, the daughter wanted to try iboga or ibogaine as a way of healing, but ibogaine is a very high threshold, or iboga, a very high threshold experience, especially someone with other medications. And so I counseled caution, obviously. And then at the very end, the mother didn't say anything. We went up for an hour and a half, and then she just expressed to her daughter how fearful she was for her surviving daughter. And I don't know what else to say about that. I can't be as eloquent as the mother speaking to her daughter. I can't encapsulate it, but it was moving. But beyond all that, there's all that. But the fact that this woman had, first of all, taken the time to explain this to folks, because it was so important a part of her experience, the psychedelic, her relationship with plant medicine, and that they were receptive and open enough to come in to our group, was moving, but also informative, and in that this could be a model as psychedelics become more accepted. It is a model in other places where these are traditional medicines, but this could be a model for the way it's done. You bring everybody in, you have the conversation with the whole family, because it's a whole family conversation, especially when the stakes are so high. So it was just a powerful, powerful group. And that's the beauty of this group, is we don't know what's coming in the door. We don't know whose experience and who's coming to share what. And so, yeah, it was a great group.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Do you want to talk a little bit more about what she herself said about what her expectations were?
I think that she was, I think ultimately she was expecting, my friend just came in. Hello. I think that ultimately she was looking for some kind of miracle. And I'm in a podcast. I mean, I'm going to do this. So I think, sorry.
The unedited podcast.
Yeah, it's not a podcast. It's a what? It's a video blog, right?
It's a vlog.
This is when I become my father. This is when I become my father. Anyway, so I think she was coming in for one of those miracles that sometimes happens with iboga. But I can't guarantee those miracles. You know, I mean, I've seen some shit that doesn't make sense, but they're not guaranteed, and they don't always happen.
I mean, do you say she was looking for something that's going to, when you say she's looking for a miracle, like is she looking for a cure, or is she looking for an experience? Like you mentioned earlier that, you know, some people come to
I can't speak to that, but
end of life type of a thing.
Well, I can't speak to that, and she wasn't at the end of her life. She was in the middle of this struggle. I can't speak to that, but it seemed like she was hoping for something miraculous. Of course she is. She's got sickle cell. I mean,
well, so, I mean, maybe say it this way. Do you think she was looking for more meaning, or to find more meaning in her life?
I can't speak to her.
You can't.
I can't speak for that, but it seemed that way. But I've known people who have come for that. I've sat with people. The most moving, it's hard to say the most, but one of the most moving experiences I've ever had, or some of them, it's been people who are in the last 2 weeks, months, 5 days of their life. And they go to do either iboga or mushrooms or MDMA is a little too harsh for folks. And just seeing people resolve a lot of pain, or folks who are in the middle of a treatment and maybe the pain isn't resolved, but they begin to get a new perspective. I think these are really, in a way, maybe the most useful, these medicines are at their most useful in these situations.
In these situations, meaning?
People who are struggling with death and illness right there, because there's so little, well, first of all, because we're human, as the God, what's the name of the writer? There's a beautiful title. God, what was his name? Dreiser? Real heavy book called Because We Are Flesh.
Okay.
I love that fucking title. But because we are flesh. Right. Theodore Dreiser? Anyway, because we are flesh, right? So we're going to die. We're going to perish. And then the disconnect in our society, or the deliberate sanitation of the dying process, the whitewashing, I mean that actually culturally, even, like as we move further and further away from the soil, we move further and further away from us being the soil, because that is one of our functions, is to fertilize. And that's completely removed. My grandmother used to dress the hair and shave the beard of the dead, and the body would be in the living room, for a week.
Yeah.
And now, the whole thing is sanitized, pushed away, special places to die. So
even the terminology we use, I mean, people are afraid to say, yeah, she died. People say, oh, she passed.
Yeah. So, and then we try to say passed away or rest in peace. I don't know if it's peace. And then the other one, the new one that actually bugs me, and is rest in power. I don't know if you've heard this.
No, I haven't heard that one yet.
Well, it kind of like in like the lefty circles, rest in power. There's no more power. There's no more power.
It's over.
It's
power's
done.
Gone.
You're fucking dead. The power's gone. There's no resting in power. We don't know what the fuck's going on.
Right.
If it's anything like this, man, I don't know if you're power or you have any agency. So all this, I get it. It's a comfort. But a lot of it is because we are removed so far from it. So to be in those spaces and to watch people go through their process has been, for me, the most rewarding and moving shit I've done in all of this.
So with this woman last night, could you, if you had to sum up what her experience was like and what she got from the meeting, not last night, but on Tuesday night, from when we're doing this recording, can you sum up what she got from the meeting?
Yes,
or maybe even her parents.
Yeah, I think what her parents got was that we're not all crazy, all right, or that crazy. I think it humanized it. It demystified it, particularly for her mother.
Are you talking about people who use plant medicines and psychedelics?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, these were two elderly Caribbean people, in the early 70s, and looking around this room of psychonauts. And I think, so there was that, yeah, your daughter's not completely crazy, that this is, and then also that there were folks there that were counseling patients and not just patients, counseling. There was information exchanged about the safety factors, how to do it, where to do it. So she came in and she wanted to know those things, and she wanted a community. And I think that at the end of the day, what always comes out of this is that we need each other. What comes out of the psychedelic experience The group experience on Tuesday night is that we need each other. So they came, they talked about their fears, they talked about their expectations, and a place where this conversation is normalized. So I think it was beautiful, I think, for all concerned, and it was one of the most moving disintegration sessions we've had.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I guess the main takeaway would be that, these types of situations are normalized, accepted without judgment. Would you say that's a good way to sum it up?
That's it. That's perfect.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
It was so great. And I encourage anyone to come in, if you want to book in advance on the website. Yep. It's just a very open-hearted, intelligent place where you can come and, where else would this young woman be able to take her family and have this conversation? Yeah. So it was very powerful.
And without the judgment. All right.
Without the judgment.
So your disintegration group is every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. at 116 West 23rd Street on the 5th floor. $30 for a 90-minute session. See, I came prepared this time.
You came prepared. Right?
Awesome. You can book your spot on the website, DimitriMugianis.com. And thank you, Dimitri. It sounds like a great time. Great session.
It was great. It was amazing. Okay. So please come and write comments below, because I don't know if anyone's fucking watching this.
we got a few.
Do we? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Okay. All right, Dimitri.
All right. Thanks,
I will talk to you next time.
God bless.